This video is brought to you by Pi. To any family members watching this, please go somewhere else. Watch my video on the wild robot instead. Whatever I say here is between me and the strangers on the internet. And to anyone who hasn't seen the film, don't worry, it's spoiler free. I recently saw a movie called Babygirl starring Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson. It's an erotic thriller directed by Helena Raim, who also directed Bodies, Bodies, Bodies just a few years ago. And as far as sexy, thrilling movies go, this makes Challengers look like a Disney Channel original. The movie is about a very successful CEO named Rami, who lives a pretty good life with her husband, played by Antonio Banderas, and her two children, played by Vaughn Riley and Esther McGregor. Yes, that McGregor. But when she meets a hot new intern named Samuel, things get a little slippery, and the line between abuse of power and sexual desire become blurred. Some might even say the lines disappear altogether. The same way ads disappear when you use this week's sponsor, Pi. Pi is a free ad blocker extension where you can not only block ads, but earn cash rewards for the ads you do choose to see. Yes, it's as simple as that. With Pi, you can easily block ads when you're browsing the web, like ads on YouTube or Twitch, which is an incredibly useful, dare I say necessary tool. If you didn't already have this, that's wild, and this is your chance. Because what makes Pi special is the ability to earn cash rewards by keeping certain Pi-approved ads around. You'll be earning points by just having the ad on your screen, which then converts to real cash rewards. Not to mention their other incredibly helpful tool, Pi Shopping, which is the fastest shopping extension on the web for auto coupons and cash back. Plus it works seamlessly with Pi's ad blocker. I mean, now is kind of the perfect time to have something like Pi Shopping, especially if you're doing some holiday shopping on the web. I'm personally a big fan for when I'm browsing IMDb, which used to be borderline unusable because of all the ads, but now is actually a pretty nice experience. I also love watching the ads literally disappear right in front of me. It's weirdly satisfying and kind of cool. Go to pi.org/Karsten, click add to Chrome, and while you're there, download Pi Shopping. I gotta say right off the bat that sex in movies is back. As active as the unnecessary sex scene conversation seems to be in certain online Gen Z circles, you look at the last few years and it's like, clearly we're in a new era. It's a lot more tasteful than the bore that was the 50 Shades era of the 2010s. Between Anora, Sanctuary, and, well, most Luca Guadagnino films, it's clear there's a hunger for movies about the subject that can still be erotic in the process. This and Nosferatu both dropping on Christmas. Stockings aren't the only thing getting stuffed is all I'm saying. I think it's a problem that I've gone this long without bringing up Nicole Kidman, who carries this movie. It's one of those cases where I can't really see anyone else in this role. Everything about her, from her commanding style of acting to her actual background in films like Eyes Wide Shut to her status as a beauty icon, makes her just absolutely perfect for this role. Admittedly, I've been tapped out of Kidman's filmography for a while now, being the Ricardos never made it into the diary, shame on me, but what a reminder that there's really nobody quite like her. That said, I do think this is the Harris Dickinson moment I've been waiting for. I've always been drawn to him as an actor. He was a perfect lead for Triangle of Sadness, severely underused and underappreciated in The Iron Claw, and now in this, you really see his meek yet alluring style come to life. He fits the mold of this character perfectly. I guess what I find most important is that he understands this isn't really his movie. If we knew too much about him, if he ever did too much, it would break the mysterious and murky dynamic that they share, but instead he kind of acts as a personification of that dark, hidden feeling inside of Rami. It's her film, and in her eyes, he's not as much a person as he is a representation of her secret desires, and Dickinson performs as such. Antonio Banderas, too. I really loved how much he leaned into the sexy husband in this. Like, I don't think I've ever heard him sound this much like Antonio Banderas before, you know, he really puts it on, which I think is a very interesting detail. In an interview, Raim talks about how important it was that the husband was a sexy figure. So often in these stories about affairs and sexual fantasies, the spouse is portrayed as some unexciting white bread ball and chain at home to make the cheating make sense, I guess. But Babygirl poses the question, if you're married to literally Antonio Banderas, salt and pepper beard and all, has the voice, and you're still not satisfied, could you be the problem? Or is Harris Dickinson really just that hot? There's a lot to consider here. Before I go any further, I also thought the score for this was just booming. I have no other way of describing it. It's literally like a series of booms and deep voices and rhythm. Almost sounds like a chant. It makes everything feel just a little more dangerous, which, don't read into this too much, made it pretty sexy. I think an important part of why Babygirl works is that it has a lot of fun with the material, unlike something like 50 Shades of Grey. Sex can be funny. It is funny sometimes. I think the scene that really sums up this film's voice is the already iconic one in the trailer with the milk, a scene I would simply ruin if I tried to describe it and put into words towards why it works so well, but it's both really funny and really sexy. There are so many moments like that in this thing, many of which I can't talk about without spoiling, as the blend of emotions gets even messier as the film goes on, but this funny quality is such an essential part of why this film works. It feels like films about this subject have felt the need to shy away from it for so long, and I'm glad this one leans into it. This film is, above all else, a very thorough character study of a woman in power who is sexually unsatisfied. The crux of the film is when Samuel tells her, "You like being told what to do," something that clearly draws her in considering her mysterious past involving, I'm pretty sure, cults. And this idea of being told what to do is something that she lacks currently in a position where she has it all. And that's what makes this the endlessly fascinating and sexy thrill that it is. Is it not a little tragic that she needs to feel under control to feel anything? Is the only place to find fulfillment through this extreme scenario where she could end up losing everything? Kidman does an incredible job in her performance tiptoeing between indulging and running away from her actions, which only makes those moments of indulgence that much sexier. Similar to another film from this year about sex and power dynamics, Challengers, no decision is ever a simple one-noted one in this movie. Everything in the film is about power. You never really know who's in control at any given time. This is why, to some, I can see the film coming off almost too calculated. Like, how can anything be sexy if you're just constantly thinking about power dynamics? This is where it loses just a little bit of steam in the back half, when the chase to reclaim power really picks up and the initial thrill of the sex wears off. You could say the film starts to run in circles a bit. I certainly don't think it ever reaches the highs of the first half, but that's where the nuance of Rami as a character really starts to come alive, without spoiling. Whether or not her own transformation leads to some sort of true fulfillment in the end is where this is up for interpretation. But like real life, the film understands that there's no simple answer to that. This isn't black and white, and that's what makes it exciting. If you can't tell, Babygirl is truly a lot. I also hate saying the title out loud. There's so much to this that I can't even really say I've fully digested everything, especially after just a single viewing. And I think that says a lot about this film for being an erotic thriller. I'm so used to films like this being not nearly as good on a rewatch just because it's all kind of worn off by then. But in this case, there's really so much to chew on. It's endlessly rewatchable, in my opinion. And yet, for how dense it is narratively, it never loses sight of that eroticism at the heart of it. In fact, I'd go as far to say you're not going to find a sexier film made in the last 5 years. Nicole Kidman said it herself. We come to this. And that's what I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Go watch Babygirl with your entire family on Christmas and form your own opinion, and I'll see you in the next one.